Welcome, and thank you for coming to this live event. I'm filled with gratitude to see you all here today. There are many things you could be doing that right now, this Sunday afternoon, right? But you chose to spend your precious time with me. So again, I thank you very much. For our first-time viewers, I'm very pleased that you're here. This is such an important time for all of us, right? And if this is your first time here, one of the activities we do before we begin our talks is that we have a short meditation, right? A moment to get comfortable, a moment to still our thoughts and to calm our minds, to bring kind awareness to the present moment. All right, so if you won't mind, so please breathe in and hold and slowly exhale. Breathe in, feel your chest rise, hold, and exhale, letting your chest fall. Breathe in, feel the sensation of the air going through your nostrils, and hold, and exhale through your nose, or you can exhale through your nose, or you can exhale through your mouth, whatever you go, whatever works best for you. Now a few breaths on your own, okay? Letting your mind calm and a sense of open awareness come into being. Good job. Here in the U.S., we just finished, or we had our Thanksgiving holiday. And for the benefit to our international viewers, it's a holiday where we reflect on the year and all that we're thankful for. It's usually spent in the company of loved ones and other family members and friends. Anyone who we feel dear to us is certainly invited to our Thanksgiving table, although this year was a little bit different, right? And many memories are created here. All are valuable on their own, in their own special way. And I like to share some very special moments I have with you from my childhood. When I was 8 or 9 years old, we moved to a new development that had these wonderful woods. These woods were a short walk, literally across the street from my house, and they seemed endless. And I'd spend a lot of my time there doing kid stuff. And these woods also had a little creek flowing. And one of the most interesting and beautiful and amazing things I remember was that along this creek, it cut through this small hill. And on this hill, there was this tree along the bank that we could walk under. It was overhanging the bank by almost half its roots, right? Half its roots were exposed. We could go underneath, right? We could kind of walk underneath. It was a really amazing experience. Got to see the tree from underneath. And it was an older tree, maybe an oak. I'm not sure now, and it must have been 100 feet tall, maybe 1,000 feet tall. Everything's super tall, right, when you're little. Anyway, with half its roots exposed, it was only a matter of time before it fell. So after every large rainstorm, we'd go look. Had it fallen yet? No, not yet. Its roots were solidly, firmly in place, and this went on for many years. And it wasn't until later, in my high school days, that enough earth move from under that tree that it finally fell over. Was that the end of the tree's existence? Now that it had fallen over, how long before it died? Guess what? It didn't. For many years after that, it grew. It lived. But instead of growing like we would normally think, its branches grew up towards the sun, not the base. Right? And those branches, they grew wider at the base. And they grew taller, reaching up and thriving. See, the earth moved, the tree fell, but it lived on. There were enough roots holding firmly into the remaining soil that it refused to give up. So how does a tree falling in the woods so many years ago relate to today in COVID? Let's think about that. We can imagine ourselves as that tree in the woods and the soil as our current COVID situation in this story, with repeated lockdowns and self-quarantining and wearing a mask, not being able to go out and see our friends, or a squirt of hand sanitizer, right? All of these little actions can be thought of as a rain event, waiting, each in turn, to knock you over, to make you fall like a tree in the woods, trying to dishearten you from your growing, challenging your very own resolve. But when we look inside ourselves with compassion and understanding, we can see our own roots growing. We all have them. Some have them at different stages of growth, and that's okay, but they're there. So how do we make sure our roots are growing in a positive and healthy direction? Think about that. What can we do? What approaches can we take? We want to ensure that our actions are positive to not only ourselves, but those around us. It's an interesting time we're in. Well, we grow and strengthen our own roots by being compassionate with our thoughts of ourselves and our thoughts of others. And then by sharing that compassion with others. You see, sharing our compassion with others allows us to connect with the world in the present moment. We don't live in the past, right? We don't live in the future. The breath you are taking right this very moment will never happen again. The present is very important, and how we deal with it is very important. How we accept our circumstances and the situations that we are in And so sharing compassion allows us to connect to our own self. How? Think of a time when you were compassionate towards someone, truly compassionate towards someone, doing something for someone else whom you know that they could never return that act. You were so generous in that act that you know that it came from a place inside you that was just filled with love and compassion towards another human being. And you know that they would never be able to repay you. That's an important feeling in developing our own roots. So think about, how did that make you feel? How did that make you feel? That feeling is the growth of your own roots and your own branches. COVID may be removing some of the soil and exposing your roots of compassion towards yourself and others. COVID may be shifting some of what you were used to, but your branches are still able to go towards the sky. So if we think about it, COVID is actually an opportunity for you to show the world what you have inside you: the love, the compassion, not only towards yourself, but towards others. So instead of viewing COVID as a challenge or an obstacle, reframe it as that opportunity. The shifting soil of COVID can only expose the kindness and the compassion you have inside you. And as your own branches find new ways to grow in the sunlight, so do your roots. And with that, my friends, I wish you all well for the remainder of the day. Right? If you enjoyed this talk, maybe you found it helpful in some way, I welcome you back. Our next live stream will be tomorrow, Monday, the 30th, from 6 to 6:30 here in Central Time. Or you can visit us at our website at bluelotusmeditation.us for downloads or to sign up for our monthly newsletter. If you have any questions, please, we can talk about them. Feel free to ask them if you like, whether it's in the chat or perhaps via email or anything like that. I'm more than happy to go over any concerns that you may have. And since this is a live stream, I'm so glad you spent your time here with me today. So before we leave, we can take a few moments and think about what we just talked about and what we learned about developing our roots and our compassion towards others. How can you develop that generosity, that compassion inside you? What actions can you do? Maybe it is helping someone open a car door with full groceries. Maybe it's just a kind smile. One thing I've noticed, and maybe you have as well, it's easy to see when you're wearing a mask. It's easy to see when someone is smiling. Their eyes squint. You may not be able to see the smile on their face, but you can see the smile in their eyes. And that's very important to notice. to notice that. How perceptive we can be. Anyway, again, thank you for joining me today, this beautiful Sunday afternoon, to talk about how we can develop and strengthen our roots of compassion and understanding towards others. And I wish you well, my friends. Namaste.